Thank you for coming to Compass Starlight. This is going to be a weekly reading, a weekly check-in. Let's see what kind of energies we get for this coming week. What are the messages? What is the energy we will be facing? Recording from a different spot today, and a different tabletop actually. So I don't know what that sounds like through the microphone, but anyway, let's find some cards. It's the Mantegna Tarot. Let's find some cards that can tell us where we can focus our attention for the week ahead, where we can aim to emulate certain characteristics or attributes. We have Rhetoric, card 23. We have Music, card 26. And we have Faith, card number 40. For the Oracle cards, this is the Sea Soul Journeys Oracle cards. Excuse me. What kind of hope and inspiration can we get from these cards? And perhaps they could imbue us with some kind of support, kind of goals. We have Believe and Heard. And then finally we have here the Light Seers Tarot. What messages for the week ahead? Four of Swords, Queen of Cups. Justice. Four of Pentacles. Anything else? A couple more cards. Oh, that is a couple more cards. Great. We have the Page of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. All right. Okay, to start out with here in this reading, we have card number 23. We have Rhetoric. This is the archetype for discussion. Sincere dialogue leads to a shared truth. Now, just to start out, that's a nice reflection on the last reading I did, the weekend reading, which seemed to indicate some conflict arising. And the first card out from the Mantegna Tarot was the card of strength, and having the strength to support oneself, the strength of character, to have integrity, and also the strength to repair something that may be damaged. And it looked like the conflict could potentially be damaging, although the reading suggested not to focus on the conflict so much as pursuing your goals and staying focused on your path. Nonetheless, the resolution to conflict is generally discussion, right? You have a sincere dialogue in order to find balance between two parties, two people, two entities, right? Discussion. That's how we come to peace. That is how we come to terms with one another, even when we have to get to a point where we agree to disagree. So Rhetoric, card number 23, is the archetype for discussion. Sincere dialogue leads to a shared truth. So, if over the weekend, or even if at this coming week here, you encounter a situation of conflict, keep in mind that dialogue can help disperse feelings of negativity. Dialogue can help you gain clarity and understanding of another's perspective, even a clearer understanding of your own perspective and your own feelings, and help you move logically through a situation. This card here shows the protagonist wielding the sword of truth, and additionally at the protagonist's feet there are two individuals, both with trumpets. And so furthermore, the protagonist is wearing a crown, which highlights our ability to connect with our crown chakra, and as well the knowledge that we have within, the wisdom coming through with the clarity of the sword. But to these two individuals at the protagonist's feet with the horns, that is symbolism for the ability to transform thought, concepts, ideas, transmute the energy into something harmonic. So it's only reiterating this message that speaking, using voice, using sound, right, helps us to clarify a situation and harmonize energies to make balance between two people, balance between two entities, such as yourself and your employer, for example, etc. The next card is music. It's card number 26. Music is the archetype for harmony. Attract friends, disorient enemies. So again, we're talking about harmony here. She also has a musical instrument harmonizing the air, the symbol for thought, into beautiful sound. There are other instruments here at the protagonist's feet. And additionally, there is here a goose. Sometimes I wonder in this deck if we're looking at a goose or a swan. But in this case, swans do have black beaks, I believe. So it would indicate that this is a goose. Is that right? A white goose? Well, I guess we leave that open to interpretation. But swans tend to be more graceful than geese. Geese, however, are known to be, they can be aggressive in defending their territory. I'm not suggesting that this might indicate that we're being asked to be aggressive. However, perhaps part of conflict that we may have experienced over the weekend or as we move into the week has to do with standing our ground and protecting our values. And yet, here we are with music, card number 26, being asked to harmonize, again reiterating the message of this card, rhetoric. Attract friends and disorient enemies. This is again when you find yourself in situations where people may be rubbing you the wrong way, to, as they say, kill them with kindness. If somebody has a bad attitude around you and you sort of deflect that energy by being nice and sweet and attempting to be understanding, we never know what other people are going through. We can still manage to push our agenda, get what we want, get what we need. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. I mean that if you need a service, for example, and you're at a service desk, right? You're there for a reason. You're there as a customer. You want to achieve a goal on your agenda, and the individual is there to help you. And when you run into conflict, it seems to put a little bit of a stick in the spokes. But ultimately, at that service center, the individuals are there to serve you. So this is just finding a way to keep things rolling smoothly, taking the path of least resistance to get what we want, to push things forward without being aggressive or assertive, but yet being the squeaky wheel, making a little bit of noise and standing our ground, and still having the ability to harmonize the energy. Finally, we have this card, faith. Faith is card number 40, the archetype of tradition. Adopt the wisest and noblest ideas. This is suggesting that we try to maintain ourselves with dignity and walk a just path, walk with righteousness, do and behave, be good according to what our subjective sense of understanding about what that means. To be good, to be faithful, to have fidelity. This may mean staying true to a friendship. It may mean staying true to your values. There is something in this cup that she holds, right? Sometimes, well, frequently, the cups are indicative of emotions, and she is holding this cup. This could suggest that we are being asked to be faithful to and true to our own sense of feelings about our world, to be true to ourselves and how we feel our lives are being directed. So there's a little bit about standing up for your values here. And then next we have, for the Oracle, these Sea Soul Journey cards, and I'm just going to move into those before getting into the Tarot. We have Believe. These might take me a moment. Let's see. The first card we have is Believe. It says, may the sea deepen your faith. The reflection on this card says, to enter the sea is to conceive of something greater than yourself while allowing space for your own greatness. It is soul knowledge that even as you need water, you are water. Now, I've heard of somebody likening divinity to a water fountain, right? We all have divine energy within us, and if you think of ourselves as droplets of water from the fountain, we are all divine in and of ourselves, and yet when we come together as the pool of water in that fountain, there is the glory of all divinity, right? But just because the droplets splash out of the fountain does not negate our connection to that source. So when I look at this card, Believe, and it says to enter the sea is to conceive of something greater than yourself while allowing space for your own greatness, it reminds me that even as individuals, we are just as divine as we are as a collective in spirit. I'll continue here. The blessings with this card say, may your worthiness be unassailable. May you claim your place in the world. May you always be there for yourself. May you believe in you. The mantra says, to believe in the ocean is to believe in myself. And again, I don't think this is suggesting that we worship the ocean, nor that we get such a big head, but it is a suggestion or a reminder even that as individuals, as I said, we are just as divine and holy as we are when we are connected as spirit body. The individual still has that divinity manifested here on earth in this body, just as we do when we are collective in the spirit world. The next card is Heard. This card says, may your brave call be carried on the wind. And that suggests that we may sometimes need to ask for a little bit of help. And when we do, the call is answered. May your brave call be carried on the wind. The reflection says, the sea can push you to endure, to tread water, to fight for survival. Yet in the depths of struggle lies the courage to speak out and ask for help. In sharing your lessons and accepting an open hand toward calmer waters, your strength touches all. You may be asked to help a friend, help someone else, or perhaps you may find yourself struggling with something, a situation in which you need to reach out and ask for some help or assistance. It does not make one weaker. It makes one stronger to have the strength to be able to ask for help or to admit when we are overburdened. The blessings with this card say, may you be witnessed, may you be supported by a loving community. May your trials chart a powerful legacy of hope and resolution. And the mantra says, I speak my truth and I am heard. Again, that is to say that when we need help and we ask for help, the call is answered. Now, looking at these tarot cards from the Light Seers Tarot, we have the Four of Swords, which is a card of rest and rejuvenation. It is mending, and perhaps in this particular deck, it may suggest mending a broken heart, but it is giving ourselves a chance to recuperate on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, to rest our mind and recuperate on an intellectual level, to reflect on our thoughts. And of course, if I haven't said it already, to recuperate on a physical level. This may mean taking a nap or taking a day at the beach, going out for a slow walk in the woods and just contemplating and looking at things without an agenda, a time crunch, a time limit, so on and so forth. The next card is the Queen of Cups. This is a card of having an open heart, knowing your mind, knowing your emotions. This queen has the ability to take a step back and consider her emotions. She is stable enough to evaluate herself and her own feelings. She's a compassionate, intuitive individual, and she trusts her intuition to guide her. We are being asked with this card to be compassionate and have understanding for whatever we ourselves are going through, but also to extend that compassion to others and whatever struggles they are enduring, to greet them with an open heart and to be tender with the real struggles that other people are experiencing. With the card Justice here right next to it, this is a card of balance. This is a card of cause and effect. This is an opportunity to assess how we have or have not walked a path of righteousness. Have we behaved and lived our lives up to our own standards? Are we living up to our own standards, our own values? And if not, it's an opportunity to reassess and reevaluate our standards and our values or our behavior so that they can be more in alignment with one another. And that is the balance. This individual here has the Sword of Truth. The sword, again, is the symbol of air and the mind. clarity, thought, logic. This is having a really strong balance between intuition and logic. And in that understanding, we move forward. We move forward here to the Four of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is sometimes holding on too tightly. I am getting in this particular reading that in this case, the Four of Pentacles, it can have several different meanings, but this is holding on too tightly to certain values. This is holding on too tightly to certain ideals, and I think that this is asking us to loosen up a little bit. This can be a card of protecting one's assets and one's values, and I see that too. There is a point where in the weekend reading, and there's something in the Mantegna Tarot for today that sort of suggests protection, protecting our values and standing up for ourselves, but at what cost? So perhaps there is a sense of protecting our values that we are living, but we are also being asked to loosen up a little bit. And in fact, I find in reality that if you have money and you spend money, you get money. It seems a little backwards, but if you're very considerate about how you spend money, it's like somehow some universal law. If you invest in your community, if you're willing to spend a little bit here and there, it keeps the cycle of money flowing. So my point is that if you can loosen up a little bit when you have some money to spend a little bit of money, it does come back to you. Could the same be true for our values? If we can loosen up a little bit on our values and not be as strict and stringent and rigid, perhaps others will find it more that they can more easily meet us halfway to the point of where our values stand. Maybe consider your own values and where you might be able to loosen up a little bit, because again, those things are all very subjective. It's very personal. Next we have the Page of Swords, and this is a card about intellectualism, acquiring more knowledge. This can be information coming in to you. The Page of Swords is new information. So, and then it's followed by the Ten of Pentacles here, which suggests material satisfaction and completion, joy and harmony in the material world, happiness, success. Is there some information coming to us that can heighten, expand our sense of material satisfaction in this world? I'm curious to know what this Page of Swords might be, what kind of information might be on its way in flight to us. Now, one thing I've never actually noticed before with this card, I've noticed the light bulbs in this deck and the birds. The suit of swords does typically include birds in this particular deck. In this case, it's the bird's nest. But birds are symbols of thought, ideas, of course the light bulb with ideas. All of those things I've seen before, but I've never noticed that as she walks across, as she floats across this chasm here, she is actually being guided by the sword. There's a sword under her feet, and she is lightly walking over it, lightly because she is being carried by her ideas. But this is that sword of truth, of clarity. So she is letting truth, logic, clarity help her across this difficult chasm. So if you maybe have found yourself a little bit overwhelmed with emotion, you are finding a way to overcome that by being compassionate to whatever situation is at hand, and to using your logic to pass over this great divide, perhaps a great divide between you and another person, or this great divide between you and another entity. You get the idea. And that is fortuitous. At any point, if we can get from here to there, it's a good sign. I just had a chunk of cards here fall out. It's a lot, but it's probably about how many I'd take anyway, so we'll take them. The first one here is the Sun, followed by the High Priestess, followed by the Hierophant, followed by the Lovers, and then the Four of Wands. These are great. I mean, the Sun is following your intuition and your guiding star, your wishes, your dreams, your hopes. That is how we should move through life, following our ambitions, whatever it is that lights us up, our joy, our inspirations. And next to it here we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess, well, she doesn't say much. She's very well connected to her intuition and the divine plan. She has this understanding. She has the book of knowledge here, and generally it's depicted as an individual with a key to the book of knowledge. As well, in this particular card, she has like 3 crowns on her head. That's a lot of knowledge and wisdom in different levels. And we see that also indicated in the Hierophant card here. He's got 3 tiers. That is like the different levels of graduation. It is accomplishment up into the spiritual world, like the earthly plane, the personal, the earthly, and the spiritual. If you're Christian, you might see it as the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit sort of a thing. How are those being represented? But not to digress. The High Priestess trusts her intuition. She has full confidence, faith, belief, right? In her intuition. She knows herself well enough. She knows that she can trust her guides. She can trust spirit. She can trust her faith in whatever she deems as God. She trusts that the path will be made clear. She trusts that she can find harmony. I believe this is further reiteration and having that compassion and having faith and trust and believing here. Faith, again, was trust, act in the wisest and noblest ideals. Sometimes we don't need to speak. Sometimes we need to show by action our practice of keeping balanced, our practice of showing that we trust in spirit, we trust in the world, we trust the path, and we don't need to engage in conflict. Although if there is conflict, yes, it is suggested that we try to have verbal discourse to resolve any conflict. Well, next we have the Hierophant. So these go hand in hand. This is a divine partnership here. I mean, if you have any kind of love relationship coming in, that's fortuitous. But this is the ultimate say, the ultimate voice, the one who makes all the decisions and gives the blessings on a situation. He's making a sign of belief, peace, as he makes the blessing over the situation. And that is that balance. It's making the blessing over these changes, this prosperity, this future It comes from being compassionate and having the balance between your intuitive and logical mind. This is the ultimate say, the ultimate authority. We also have the Lovers here. This is the choice. Again, that came up the other day. It is your choice where you will budge, where you will loosen your grip, and how tightly you will hold on to these ideals, ideas, concepts, values. You have the ability to loosen your grip. Change is growth. It is how we evolve and expand, and we do need to adapt throughout the course of our lives. We need to adapt to different situations. We need to adapt to our own situations, our own ideas, our own beliefs. I believe here this is suggesting that if we can do so, we get the Four of Wands. This is a card of completion, of satisfaction, of crossing the threshold, of success, of making an accomplishment. And we see that here in the material world with this Ten of Pentacles. It is fortuitous. We will get there. We have the blessing of the Hierophant to continue on this path to get that blessing. But it requires being balanced and having the discourse, loosening your grip on certain values and ideals, and being compassionate. If you rest and you consider a situation, how you feel, your values, how you're living those values, and how they interact with others, I think it will give you some clarity as to how to cross this chasm, this gap between you and another, between two different parties here. And when you do cross that chasm, you cross the threshold to completion, you get this sense of material satisfaction and abundance. And that's the reading for the week ahead. Thank you so much for coming to Compass Starlight.